You have people that have a lot of activity, but not a lot. They're not getting results if they can't close. Then if he's not getting results after he's got it down, he's a lazy ass. Okay? Right. There's nothing I can do about that. He's not motivated. You with me?
Yep.
You guys would do unbelievable. And I would do it just like that. Okay, you may think, oh, that's kind of goofy. No, it's not. Right? Does that say anything?
Yeah.
Does that elicit a feeling? You guys would be unbelievable. Would you mind if I followed up with you and kept you posted on what was going on and how I was progressing and all the kind of different things, opportunities that are presenting to them? Would you guys be okay with that? And I want you to know every time I call you, I don't want you to feel put out or like I'm harassing you. I want you to know the reason that I'm doing that is because I just see gigantic potential in you guys, and then if you ever saw your way clear getting involved, you'd be amazing at this, okay? So every time I call you, I want you to think, Hector thinks I'm a stud, all right? That's because that's what I think, all right? I just want you to feel that way so you don't feel put out. And that's how I would set up the follow-up. Just like that. You with me?
Yes.
I'd set up that so when I call him and go, oh, Hector's calling me again. I want him to be thinking, oh, Hector's calling me again. You know, just be thinking I'm great, right? Because I do. I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean that, okay?
Right.
I would never say that to somebody that wasn't who they are. I just wouldn't do it. But if they are, you got to tell them. You got to let them know why you're going to follow up and why you think they're great and why you think they would do great. Right? Everything about them screams success in Primerica. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Right? Then obviously it's true in their case because they ended up doing great, right? Yeah. So follow-up. I followed up with Rick Susie for 18 months. Okay? I called him or went by and saw him and followed up for 18 straight months. He told me, no, I've got a good job. Right? He had a good job. He was a supervisor making $70,000 a year. This was like in 1985, 1986. So he was like making 150 today, right? So he did have what is quote a good job, right? Working for idiots, but still a good job. And so I followed up and followed up and followed up and followed up, and then finally, right? Timing's everything. That's why follow-up's so important, because timing changes, things change in people's lives. All of a sudden, he has a baby, right? His son Eric, and he was supposed to get a bonus, a certain amount in his bonus, and it was way less than it was supposed to be, and he complained to the owner, to Skip Robbins, who was one of the owners at that time. He complained to Skip, and Skip said, Rick basically said to Rick, you're lucky you have a job. And Rick's a worker, you know that, right? He's not lazy, right? Rick's a worker. And so, and productive too. And so he's got, so if you know Rick, he was, I can't say it a mixed company personal development program. You need to start, look, every one of us when we get started have weaknesses. I had a big procrastination, time management problem. That was my weakness when I got involved in Primerica. And so what I did on the time management, I took a Franklin Planner course. I started studying, how to manage my time, and I started, prioritizing everything, and I learned how to manage my time. That was the one thing because I did. And then the procrastination thing was just I read stuff on procrastination and do it now, and that developed a do it now mentality. Because if you don't do it now, it gets away from you, right? You know how you think, I got to do this, and then you don't do it now, and then you forget. Oh, this morning, right? Before we left, I dropped Jan at her mom's house, but we always take water. We both, had one of these waters, right? So I told Jan had it out, and I got mine. I put it in my bag so I wouldn't forget. And then she did not put it in her bag. It was sitting on the counter, and she didn't put it in her bag. She forgot. She didn't do it now, right? And then she forgot it, so she doesn't have her water. I mean, that's not a big thing, but that's a perfect example of when you think about doing something, you need to do it right now.
Yeah.
Not put it off.
Yeah.
Or at a minimum, it needs to be in your calendar, so you do it when you look at your calendar, you know you're going to do it then, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you got to have a do it now mentality, because without a do it now mentality, time just gets away, right? Things happen, and there's so many things pulling at you, right? I mean, your jobs, your children, your spouses, your whatever, your parents, your in-laws. I mean, there's a million different things that want to pull our attention away, right? And so you need to be in control of your time, because if you're not, somebody else will be in control of your time. And if somebody else is, they don't have the same motivation for you to succeed as you do, okay? So be very, very, very careful about your time. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about what's happening in, right now, honestly, you should be recruiting like armies.
Yeah.
All I know, if I was prospecting, building a base shop, Ryan, really doing that, I'd be recruiting people frickin' left and right. I don't even know how you couldn't do it right now with what's going on and there is no upward mobility in virtually any company right now. Right? Every company in America over the last 6 years is trying to figure out how to do more with less people. You know, you notice how you know this more better than anyone. You guys who are investment guys, right? The market's crazy, isn't it? It's doing great, right? And you know why? Is because all these companies are doing way more with less people, so their costs are down. It's not so much that they're actually doing that much more business, they're just more profitable now. They're way more profitable. Companies are doing great, okay? The ones that were smart and were able to react to the market and all that sort of thing. So but for the average person, you know this because you're going out and you're sitting with people are broke, right?
Yes.
Essentially almost everybody's broke. To me, broke is if you lost your job tomorrow, you had no income, right? Most people would be on the verge of bankruptcy after about 90 days. After 6 months, they'd lose their cars, they'd lose their house, their house would get into foreclosure. Why? Because they have no money, they don't have an emergency account, right? So if you don't have enough money to sustain you for a year or more, even you right now, you're broke. Okay? So if you might not like hearing that, but let me just tell you, if you don't have enough money saved that could support your life that you have right now for at least a year, you're broke. You just don't know it, or you don't want to admit it, but you're broke.
Yes.
That's harsh, huh? But it's true.
Yes.
But it's true. Okay? So what do you do then? Then you got to figure out a way, how do you save money so that you have enough money if you did lose a job, or both of you and your spouse lost a job, what would you do? What's your backup plan? I think Primerica, one of the ways I used to recruit people, I'd say, Don, what's your backup plan if your job goes away or you get laid off, or you're like one of the 18,000 Microsoft employees that just are getting terminated or laid off right now? What's your backup plan for that? Yeah, that's pretty much what you're going to hear. They have no backup plan. So I'd say, okay, so you don't have a backup. How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Feel secure? No. Okay. That's scary, isn't it? All right. So why would you not consider getting involved with me, allowing me to help teach you the business, get your license, and put yourself in a position where you could replace your income if that happened? I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to leave. I'm just saying, take a look at Primerica, have it be your backup plan. It's kind of like your car, right? Do you have a spare tire in your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
To get a flat.
Yeah, in case you get a flat. Do you plan on getting a flat? No, but it could happen, couldn't it? Okay, same thing with your job. It could happen. So that's the reason you should have a backup plan. I mean, and plus, you get all your license, I'll teach you how to invest your own money, I'll teach you how to make some money, you know a bunch of people, you could help them, right? Look what I've done for you tonight. We put this plan together, you're gonna be out of debt, 8 years, you're gonna do this, all this, and I would point out all the things I'm doing for you. Don't you think everybody deserves to have some plan like that? Yeah, we can just go share it with them. If they like it, great. If they don't, great, right? No pressure, nothing, you don't have to, sweat that. Okay? And plus, whoever you go see, I guarantee you, I would never do anything to embarrass you. It's going to be strictly positive. Everything we're going to do is going to be, they're going to love it, or we're not going to do it, okay? So I don't want you to feel apprehensive about going to see people that you care about, that you're close to, that you love, and that you admire, okay? And that's how I would do it, just like that. That seem complicated? Does that seem like pressure?
No.
No, there's no pressure. Just talking, right? I have not been on an appointment since 1992. Okay? That's what happens when you know what you're doing. You see? It's like riding a bike. Do you think if I got on the field I'd get close to people? It'd be like shooting ducks in a barrel, okay? It's because once you know how to do it, it's not difficult. It's just the fact you've got to do it. The problem for a lot of you, you know how to, but you don't do it. You do it so infrequently. You got to do it often. And then the most important part, you got to teach people. You want to grow. If you're ever going to be free, there's two ways to get free in Primerica. All right. You can do it yourself, doing transactions, right? If you want to, and make decent income. Well, we've got people that are making 100, 150, 200,000 a year, and they don't really have a business. They just have to do transactions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. That's one way, but you better pay your house off, you better pay your cars off, and you better be saving money if you ever have any goal of being free, okay? Or you could build an organization, like I have, and train a bunch of people and have a bunch of massive passive cash flow coming in, right? Because I haven't seen clients. Look, folks, I don't know. I was telling somebody, you know, my securities income right now is, it's like probably this is going to be between $600,000 and $700,000 in securities income. That's what I'm going to make this year. I have not written a securities sale since 1992. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. My trailer months are like $70,000, $80,000 now. So I'm making on trailer months. So every third month, right? Every third month I'm getting like $70,000, $80,000 on securities. And I haven't written a security sale in, what is that, 22 years. Okay? Why, Chuck? Because I trained people and I built an organization. Okay? That's why. Because I did what I'm telling you to do. Actually did it, right? So there's tons of people out there that are waiting for somebody like you. They don't know Primerica exists. They don't know all the features and benefits of Primerica. They don't know what we have to offer. They don't know how awesome our company is. Look at the stock.
Yeah.
Stock. You have a little stock, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how's that done?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's good. Keep doing that, right? You're gonna, that's gonna be a big number at some point, right? I don't know, what's your number right now? Do you know how much you have total? 200,000, right? So that's gonna, every year you get more, right? So then, 10 years from now, that could be $1 million.
Chuck,
What are you getting, Chuck?
about 400,000.
400,000, so that 400 is gonna go to 800, to $1 million, 2 million, It's awesome. Plus, you got trailers, right? You guys got trailers.
Yep.
Trailers are good, man.
Trailers are awesome.
You guys know that on the security, most of you don't have securities license. You're stupid not to have a securities license.
That's right.
You really are. I'm sorry. I mean, you said I was blunt, right? You're double dumb, okay? I'll tell you why, because those trailers are, this is what you need to know about securities and why you need to know how to do it and get good at it and know how the product works, because on the securities part, folks, all the money you have under management, every year, the investment companies pay you a trailer. Actually, not every year, every quarter they pay you a trailer, okay? So, what are your trailers now, seats, cross?
About $8,000
A month?
every quarter.
Every quarter, okay, so that's 32,000, right? So it's 32,000 every year, just on trailer. That doesn't include what you make, that's just the trailer part of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's gonna grow, right?
It has.
It has grown a lot, probably.
It has.
Yeah, so that's gonna go to 32, to 40, to 50, to whatever, right? But at some point, it's gonna be, who knows, 100,
Every
150.
8 years it doubles.
Every 8 years it doubles, right? And it grows
If you
faster
go- yeah.
if you
Add more.
add to it, right? If you're adding to it, then it can grow a lot faster. But that's right now. So if you added Social Security to that, they could retire, right? But that's pretty awesome, right?
Yes.
That's just money just comes in, boom, like every quarter.
That's not even counting PACs. But
Yeah, because PAC is just like, do you know what your PAC cash flow is?
it's about 50 to 52 grand a year between trails and PACs.
Okay, so $50,000 a year, let's say. Trails are what they pay you on the assets you enter manage. It means you pay you like a quarter, 1% or whatever the number is, okay? You get that, every year. But the other thing is that every time you set up an account where you get clients investing $200, $300, $500 a month into their PCs, you get paid every month on that.
Yes.
Every month. So as that grows, your income grows every month. So it goes from you have 1,000 coming in, then 10, then 20, then 50, then 100,000 a month, then 200,000 a month, then 300,000 a month, and all of a sudden, right, I'm getting paid on all your PACs every month. So all the PACs you do, I get paid, and I don't get paid what they get paid, but I get paid something, right? I want you to get a securities license. But you should want to get one because it's good for you too. Not to mention it's good for your clients, right? You could do the whole package. There's a lot of money in it, okay? A lot of money in it. Okay. So what's happening with our economy, the job market, all that, you should be prospecting a lot more. Just talking to people. How you prospect? See, this is the thing that's silly. You're talking to people, you're meeting people all the time, right? Aren't you meeting people all the time? You're running into people, you're doing business with people, you just meet people. I mean, I meet people all the time. Just ask the question. All you have to do is ask the question. You'd ask a couple of questions. You could say, hey Kurt, are you set at your job right now? Do you plan on doing that to the day you die? I mean, is this all you're ever going to do till you die?
No.
So are you open to looking at something else? If there's a potential to increase your income dramatically and be your own boss and manage your own time, but are you the kind of individual that would be open to exploring an opportunity like that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, listen, your phone number, email?
Yeah.
Maybe we can set up a time we can meet for maybe 15, 20 minutes over a cup of coffee. I want to show you what I'm doing, where our company's headed, the kind of growth we've had, the excitement that we have within our company. I'd like to do that.
Sure.
Boom, that's it. I'm not gonna, if you ask me what it is, I'll say, listen, it's like trying to give you a haircut over the phone. I'm not gonna be able to do that, right? You can't do that in 2 minutes. You really need to sit down and take a look at it. Look, no pressure. If you see something you like, great. If you don't, no problem. Okay? That's how I always would say, yeah, if you see something you like, great. If you don't, no problem. I never felt like, I don't want him to feel like I need him to do it or there's pressure or anything like that. Look, but I want to sit down with him. Because when I sit down with him and I show him my presentation, I show him what we do and all the things we have available and how it helps people and all that stuff, I'm going to close him if he's the right kind of person, right? So it just depends. But all I want now is I want a name, number, and a phone number, and I'm going to follow up. Then I'm going to follow up, right? I'm going to follow up. Or every time you meet somebody, just ask them, you know, I used to ask that question. Are you planning on retiring and this is what you're going to do till the day you die? I said just like that, till the day you die, because they're thinking, shoot, I don't want to be doing this. Most people, most people have jobs, not because that's not what they really selected, it's kind of like what they fell into. Okay? There aren't that many people that have jobs that they went to school and they decided to become an engineer or an attorney or whatever, where they're really directed on having it. Most people's jobs are jobs that they just kind of fell into, that happened. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. If you think about your own personal situation, I mean, probably if you have a job, you didn't grow up the time you were like 10 years old and go, I want to be doing this. Right. Even when I went to school, I have a degree in psychology. I was going to be a clinical psychologist. That's what I wanted to do, right? And then I got married, and then I found out that in order to make any money, you have to have a PhD, which would have meant I didn't get a master's and a PhD, another like 5, 6, 7 years of school, and a bunch of money, and even then, they don't make any money, okay? I figured it out, right? And I go, I got to do something else. And then I answered an ad for a jewelry sales position because I just needed a job. I just graduated from college, I had a tiny baby, and we were broke. I needed a job, and I got in the jewelry business, and then I went from the first company was Gordon Jewelers, then I went to Robbins Brothers, and I did really well there, and then I found Primerica, right, later. And even that was just kind of happened. Like for you, I wasn't planning on doing Primerica. How many of you were like, I'm going to do Primerica when I grow up? Maybe your kids. Even my kids didn't want to do Primerica, right? So, it kind of just happens. So people aren't like married to most people are not like committed married to their current situation. If they could see a better way, a way that they believe they could actually do it, right? If you could explain it in such a way to say, this is a no-brainer, people need this, they want it, what we do is fantastic. There's not another company in America that's doing what we're... By the way, there's not another company in America that's doing what we're doing with the F&A and all the things that we have to offer, the features and benefits of showing people how to get out of debt, how to insure their family, how to invest for their future, how to, auto and home. There's no other company doing a very comprehensive, you know, fairly sophisticated financial plan
Right.
for the middle market that's complementary, right? Who's doing that? Nobody. Nobody's doing what, you know the business you're in? Nobody's doing it but you. When you really understand that and you understand how it works and why it's great and what it does for people, then you can start being really aggressive at talking to people about it. Whether they get involved or not, whether they become a client, it's irrelevant. Start talking. What you're looking for, this is the way I always thought of it. I was looking for people that were looking for me. I wasn't looking to try to convince people into doing, I never tried to convince people into doing Primerica. I never tried to convince them. I was looking for people that were looking for me. In other words, they were looking to do something. They were motivated. They're motivated to do more, right? That's what I was looking for, right? And I didn't care what they were doing. You know, Cross, when he got started, he was an electrician, right? That's what he was doing. He wasn't thinking, I'm going to be a financial service guy and sell mutual funds. And yeah, you're a professional investment guy. You are. I mean, you just are. Okay, but you never thought about that in a million years, right? You fell into it, and he found he's really good at it, right? So that. You're just looking for people that are looking for you, right? And you need to be that motivated person to attract the motivated people, okay? If you're not the motivated person, you're not going to attract motivated people, right? I attract a lot of motivated people because I'm highly motivated. I always wanted to be somebody. You know, Art talked about that. I just did. I mean, I don't know why. He said, I don't know why I am like I am, but my butt's always burning, right? That's me, man. When he said I go, shoot, that's me. I don't know why I am like, but I just want to do more, be more. I want to have a bigger life, better life. I want more things happening. I want to have more options. I want more, right? I just want to have, life's too short. Look, when I got started, right, Dak, you saw my son Dak in the video, right? Dak was 5. He's 35 right now. He's going to be 36 in next month. October 7th. He'll be 36 years old. He was 5 when I got in. I went like, boom, like that. Even you remember when he was a kid, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, just, I know, it went like that. The little granddaughter Frankie, she's 6 now, man. She's like 4 feet 3 inches tall, and she's big. Look, no other company doing what we do, the way we do it, with the focus on middle America, helping them formulate a financial plan with our financial, nobody's doing that. You need to really understand that and understand how powerful that is and what an incredible tool that is. Look, one of the things that Robert Anthony taught me, he says, money flows to those people who solve other people's most pressing problems. What's more pressing than being out of debt or being able to retire and have enough money in savings for retirement, right? You know, like right now, you know what's happening all over the country right now? In California is one of the worst. Is it, you know, all these retirement plans that state employees have, what's it called, PERS or whatever?
Yeah.
They're broke.
Yeah.
They don't have enough money to fund those. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be a freaking disaster for any state employee, any county employee, any city employee, any government, well, the federal government maybe not, but all those, they don't have the money to pay these people when they retire. They don't have it now, and they're not ever gonna have it. They're just trying to push it off right now. That's all they're doing. It's scary. So if you don't take care of your own retirement, you're an idiot. See, you should be telling your clients that. You need to take care of your own retirement. You cannot leave that up to even your employer. That's crazy to depend. How many businesses, like if Microsoft seems like a really good company to work for, right? Except they're letting go 18,000 people right now. 18,000. They're not like going out of business, but why? They're trying to cut their overhead so they become more profitable for the shareholders.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not here right now. Okay. So the bottom line is this, folks. We have the answer to what ails the vast majority of middle American families. We have the you have the answer. Once you learn how to do the business, you learn how this works. you have the answer. So, you know, you're driving on the freeway. I drove in on the freeway this morning, and you know, the 9 out of 10 people, they don't want to be doing that drive.
Right.
It's just like too much, right? The amount of time they're spending on the road every day. I mean, I don't know, some of you could be spending 2 hours, 3 hours a day on the road going to and from work. I mean, that's a nightmare, right? The other thing you need to really think about, and I don't know that people really think about that, is debt elimination is the #1 factor preventing people from retiring financially independent. Debt is the problem. Debt. You got to have a plan to get out of debt. Let me just tell you one of the most, even if you don't ever build a big business in Primerica, and I know most of you probably won't for whatever reason, but if you don't do it, at a minimum, I would recommend that one of the best things I've ever done in my life, from a happiness standpoint, from a security. Is there something to erase this with, or how do you erase this?
Yeah, you just use that pen and then you can just use the paper and it'll just wipe right off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just.
What paper? No, honestly.
Oh, that paper. It worked, though. Look, I tell you, this to me, in my life, being debt-free and having enough money invested that I don't have to work anymore it's the most liberating thing ever. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to have a plan right now to get rid of all your debt and start saving money. I mean, on your way to getting there, I know it takes a lot of discipline to do that. I understand that because, you know, all these new shiny things are happening, all these beautiful big screen TVs, there's the new iPhone coming, there's always something that you can spend money on, right?
Yeah.
But being debt-free and having enough money invested that you don't need to work is like, it's hard to explain how good it is, how awesome that is. To know that every day you get up, you just do what you want to do. Right? That's why I say living on vacation, like 10 months out of the year, probably it's even more than that. Because I get up every day and I basically just do what I feel like doing that day. Our day revolves around where are we going to eat and what movie are we going to see? Or if we're going to see the grandkids, are they going to come over and go swimming, or what are we going to do? I mean, that's really pretty much for the most part. You know, there's stuff I have to do. I still do some work and stuff like that, but not that much. Okay? And it's a revolt, but that's because I know I don't have any debt. I have 3 homes, and they're paid off. I don't have any debt at all. And, you know, I'm making still a lot of money from Primerica, and a lot of money from money I've invested over the years. So it's really being free. Yeah. You know, I have some friends. I have a young friend that's a really sharp kid that I play golf with. He's a really good golfer, and he's really motivated. And I kind of mentoring him. And he's 35, I think, and he's like Dak's age, but he's financially independent already. And he's done an amazing job, and you know, he has a business now. He's buying real estate and, you know, like investment real estate and stuff like that. It's really exciting to see a young guy like that. He's got 2 little baby boys. He's financially independent. He works. He has a consulting business, and then he takes money that he makes from company and buys real estate. And he's been I've been doing this with him for about 5 years now. And he's like in amazing shape, you know, but he doesn't have any debt. He has a really nice home, paid off, everything's paid off, and he's doing great. And the level of freedom you start having in your life is just incredible, right? Where you do what you want. Don't you want to get there someday?
Yes.
Okay, debt-free, invest money so you get financially independent. And you should be doing both at the same time. So you should have a plan to be eradicating your debt, start chipping away at it, whatever that happens to be. Maybe the beginning you can only chip away 25, 50, 100 bucks, or whatever the number is, but have a plan to chip away at all the debt, get rid of the debt, no debt, no debt, no debt, no debt, okay? No debt. Get rid of the debt. Debt is your enemy. It's not your friend. That's why everybody's stressed out. They have too much debt. That's why they don't save money. When you go see people in their home, you do an F&A, what's the problem? They have 2 car payments. They're spending, what, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month on car payments. They got a mortgage, which is whatever, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month on a mortgage. They got a big, they got credit card balances, right? And they're spending, $300, $400, $500 on credit cards. All these things are all debt, right? Imagine if you get rid of the debt. So one of the questions I would be asking my clients, right? I'd say, Kurt, if, assume you're a normal person, you're working, you have all those debts like I'm talking about. I said, if you got rid of your car payments, your home mortgage payment, your credit card payments, how much extra a month do you think you'd have? What do you think most people would say to that number?
3,000. 3,000.
Yeah, probably 3,000, right? Probably 3 to 5K a month.
Yep.
Okay, somewhere in that range. So then if you could get rid of that, then you have that money to invest and have fun. Right?
Yep.
Because so let's say it's 5K, and you put 2,500, you're investing 2,500 a month. What could you do fun-wise on 2,500 a month? Huh?
A lot.
A lot.
You could have a blast, right? Better dinners, right? Or maybe you save 2 or 3 months and you go on an awesome Hawaiian vacation,
Yeah.
right? Or you go skiing, or you go, I don't know what you like to do, it doesn't really matter, but when you have extra money like that, and then also what would your stress level be like if you didn't have a mortgage, no car payments, and no credit card payments?
Be amazing.
Yeah, so if I can help you get there in a reasonably short period of time, that's painless to you, where it doesn't cause you a lot of pain, can you think of any reason on this green earth that you wouldn't do that?
No.
Okay, see how easy that is? Huh? That's what I would be telling every client. I'd be telling them that. And then I'd help them put a plan together and do that. That person is going to love you.
That's right.
If I help him get out of debt, he can see that how he's going to be out of debt. Is he going to, hide that information? No. Not only is he not going to hide it, he's going to want to give me referrals, and he's going to very probably get involved in the business with me. Especially I show him results. Right? Why wouldn't I be able to get them involved? Of course I'm going to recruit them. See, that's why when you know how to do the business and you just approach it right, this is not hard. You just think it's hard. Why is it hard? Skill level too low, knowledge base too low.
Yep.
Why? It's the only reason Primerica is hard for anybody. Skill level too low, knowledge level too low, Primerica hard. Is that not true?
Yes.
So then if you're a leader, you're building a team, what are you doing? What should you be focused all your energy on? Get people's skill level up?
Yep.
Yeah, their knowledge level up.
Yep.
Why? Because I want to clone me. I want to reproduce myself over and over and over, because the more people I can get doing what I'm doing, the faster my business grows. But not only that, I'm going to help. If I do that with Kurt, he's going to make money.
Yep.
I mean, like he said earlier when he was introducing me, right? A lot of the stuff he's been able to do, he could never have done that at his job. He was making like 30-some thousand a year back then.
Right.
Now he makes that a month.
Yep.
Why? There's no way he could have done that. Not that good job. I mean, he could have possibly got a better job and maybe making 100K, and he has no freedom, and he's beholden to a boss, and he could lose his job and all this. No, he can't lose his job. He could not work and not make as much money, but that's up to him.
Right.
It's not up to a boss.
Yep.
Okay. Look. Saving, investing in the future, retirement, education, goals, dreams. No company does it as good as we do, folks. Look, what I'm trying to do is just resell you on Primerica here. Because see, a lot of you're not excited about it like you should be excited about it. One of the things for me, I was so excited about talking to people about my business, I couldn't even contain myself. See, most of you are like, yeah, you do it when you get around to it, but you're not like excited about doing it.
Right.
You're not portraying this in the way that you're not seeing the awesomeness of it. How great it is for people. Protection, auto, home, life, we make sure think about it when the last time you were in a client's home and they had all those things taken care of. When was that? When was the last time you were in somebody's home and they had all their ducks in a row? Everything was taken care of. Like, never.
Yep.
Never. What does that tell you?
200.
What does that tell you about the opportunity you have when everybody you go see, nobody has it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's doing it. And you have the solutions. You can do it for them. You can help them facilitate this thing to help them get there. Nobody else really can, but you can. And by the way, those people that are in that market, the middle market, the financial service industry doesn't want to have anything to do with them.
That's right.
If they don't have probably $350,000 of investable cash, the average, whatever, Dean Witter or what are some of the companies, Merrill Lynch, all these companies, right? Schwab, they don't even want anything to do with that person. So they're like the red-headed stepchild of the financial service industry. And we are the people that can do that for them.
Right.
You need to feel like excited and proud of that.
That's right.
Yes.
Because if you don't, they won't. And you need to be sharing this and keep reminding your people about how great it is what we do. Because it is.
Yes.
Because it is. Look, you should be shouting it. I got all kinds of stuff here, but look, I constantly showed clients and new recruits what I was doing myself in terms of savings and investing so they would know I was a product of the product, that I was living what I was proposing. This is one of the things I always did. I always had, back then we used to get the mutual fund statements sent to us. I don't know if they still do that or not. I don't.
Yeah.
Shan takes care of that, but I would carry them with me. My latest statement, I just show, I might have 3 or 4 or 5 different mutual funds, and I'd always carry them with me. And I would say, hey, Steve, you know what? I've been involved in Primerica for 3 years, 5, whatever the period of time is, okay? And then I'd say, look, I've been doing this for this period of time. And then so let me show you what I've been able to save and invest since I've been in Primerica. Then I'd show them. Be 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, whatever the number was. And then I would say, you've been working at Union 76 for 5 years, right? 10. Right. So
That's right.
this 400,000 in 10 years is going to be 800,000, and then I just show them. And so what happens in another 15, 20 years, I will never have to work again as long as I live. And that's simply because I made this choice.
Right.
Can you think of any reason why you wouldn't make that same choice?
Wow.
Or you argue with that? Right? So these are the kinds of things that I did. This is how I got people going. And did you notice, what am I doing when I'm doing that? Just asking questions, not telling. Do you notice I don't tell? I just ask. This is a big, big deal here. That's why I listen to that Overcoming Objections CD so many times, because if you listen to that, you'll see that I'm always asking questions. I'm not telling.
Yep.
What the mistake most amateurs make is they're telling. They're giving information instead of asking questions.
Yep.
And asking questions is the key, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So I showed all my agents what I was doing. The other thing I did, I showed all my agents I was doing what I was asking them to do, and I did this. I recruited on average 3 directs and closed 10 or more life sales for about 8 to 10 years in a row, and that allowed me to build a big base through first. Let me give you an idea. I got these numbers. Brendan Merton sent me these numbers from 1995, August 1995, which is basically how many years ago is that? 19 years ago?
Yep.
Right. This is what I did. Through 6, I did $2,030 of premium and 795 recruits that month. Through 3rd, I did $1,824,000 in premium and 703 recruits. Through 1st, I did $481,499 in premium through 1st. Nobody's doing anything close to that right now. Okay, 141 recruits. And then my base shop, I did 71,025 recruits.
Right.
That was August.
You were part of that.
Yeah, you were in that. I was August 1995.
Yep.
Okay. And so that was all because of the training, by the way. All that happened because of the training that I've been talking about. So if you want to get big, you have to be the person that you're trying to attract. Okay? You have to be that person that you're trying to attract, because like I said earlier, like attracts like, right? You need to become that person, and then you'll start attracting that person. That kind of person will feel comfortable around you. will have the same kind of energy. It's kind of like criminals hang around with criminals, right? Drug addicts hang around with drug addicts, right? Successful people hang around with successful people.
Right.
It's like, you know, single people hang around with single people, married people hang around with married people, right? Why? Because like attracts like,
Right.
okay? All right, so you got to really pay attention to who you're hanging around with, because that is who you are going to become. So if you like what you see, good. If you don't, you need to think about that very seriously. Look, I'm going to take a few questions and then I'm done. Any questions? At all? Anything about business, okay? Are we taping this?
Yes.
No, but are you taping it?
Just on here and then there. I don't have a rod.
Oh, shoot. Make more money. That'll rob.
Yes, I do. Here's the mic right here. So just, Mark, who wants to ask questions?
Nobody? Yeah, she has a question
I
back
have a
there.
question.
Yeah, okay.
Who recruited you?
You want to give, oh, who recruited me? That's the question.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of John Grote. He was, his name was John Grote, and he recruited me, and he got terminated. People's skill level up.
Yep.
Yeah, their knowledge level up.
Yep.
Why? Because I want to clone me. I want to reproduce myself over and over and over, because the more people I could get doing what I'm doing, the faster my business grows. But not only that, I'm going to help. If I do that with Kurt, he's going to make money.
Yep.
I mean, like he said earlier when he was introducing me, right? A lot of the stuff he's been able to do, he could never have done that in his job. He was making like 30-some thousand a year back then.
That's right.
Now he makes that a month.
Yep.
Why? There's no way he could have done it. Not that he job. He might have had he could have possibly got a better job and maybe making 100K, and he has no freedom, and he's you know, beholden to a boss, and he could lose his job and all this. Now he can't lose his job. You know, he could not work and not make as much money, but that's up to him.
Right.
It's not up to a boss.
Yep.
Okay. Look. Saving, investing in the future, retirement, education, goals, dreams. No company does it as good as we do, folks. Look, what I'm going to try to do is just resell you on Primerica here. Because see, a lot of you you're not excited about it like you should be excited about it. One of the things for me, I was so excited about talking to people about my business, I couldn't even contain myself. See, most of you are like, yeah, you do it when you get around to it, but you're not like excited about doing it.
Right.
You're not portraying this in the way that you're not seeing the awesomeness of it. How great it is for people. Protection, auto, home, life, we make sure we, you know. Think about it when the last time you were in a client's home and they had all those things taken care of. When was that? When was the last time you were in somebody's home and they had all their ducks in a row? Everything was taken care of. Like, never.
Yep.
Never. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about the opportunity you have when everybody you go see, nobody has it.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it. And you have the solutions. You can do it for them. You can help them facilitate this thing to help them get there. Nobody else really can, but you can. And by the way, those people that are in that market, the middle market, the financial service industry doesn't want to have anything to do with them.
That's right.
If they don't have probably $350,000 of investable cash, the average, you know, whatever, Dean Witter or what are some of the companies, Merrill Lynch, all these companies, right? Schwab, they don't even want anything to do with that person. So they're like the red-headed stepchild of the financial service industry. And we are the people that can do that for them.
Right.
You need to feel like excited and proud of that.
That's right.
Yes.
Because if you don't, they won't. And you need to be sharing this and keep reminding your people about how great it is what we do. Because it is.
Yes.
Because it is. Look, you should be shouting it. I got all kinds of stuff here, but look, I constantly showed clients and new recruits what I was doing myself in terms of savings and investing so they would know I was a product of the product, that I was living what I was proposing. This is one of the things I always did. I always had, back then we used to get the mutual fund statements sent to us. I don't know if they still do that or not. I don't
Yeah.
Shan takes care of that, but I would carry them with me. My latest statement, I just show, I might have 3 or 4 or 5 different mutual funds, and I'd always carry them with me. And I would say, hey Steve, you know what? I've been involved in Primerica for 3 years, 5, whatever the period of time is, okay? And then I'd say, look, I've been doing this for this period of time, And then so let me show you what I've been able to save and invest since I've been in Primerica, and then I'd show them. Be 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, or whatever the number was. And then I would say, you've been working at, Union 76 for 5 years, right? 10 years, and how much have you been able to accumulate? And then he'd show me, and it would be like 10% of what I've been able to accumulate. And I'd just say, what do you think? Who made the better choice? I'd just say it. And then I would make sure he understood the rule of 72, right? So this 400,000 in 10 years is going to be 800,000, and then, I just show him. And so what happens in another 15, 20 years, I will never have to work again as long as I live. And that's simply because I made this choice. Can you think of any reason why you wouldn't make that same choice?
Wow.
Are you arguing with that? Right? So these are the kinds of things that I did. This is how I got people going. And did you notice, what am I doing when I'm doing that? Just asking questions. Not telling. Do you notice I don't tell? I just ask. This is a big, big deal here. That's why I listen to that Overcoming Objections CD so many times, because if you listen to that, you'll see that I'm always asking questions. I'm not telling. What mistake most amateurs make is they're telling. They're giving information instead of asking questions. And asking questions is a key, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So I showed all my agents what I was doing. The other thing I did, I showed all my agents. I was doing what I was asking them to do, and I did this. I recruited, on average, 3 directs and closed 10 or more life sales for about 8 to 10 years in a row, and that allowed me to build a big base through first. Let me give you an idea. I got these numbers. Brendan Merton sent me these numbers from 1995, August 1995, which is basically, how many years ago is that? 19 years ago?
Yep.
Right. This is what I did. Through 6, I did $2,030 of premium and 795 recruits that month. Through 3rd, I did $1,824,000 in premium and 703 recruits. Through 1st, I did $481,499 in premium through 1st. Nobody's doing anything close to that right now in Primerica, by the way. Okay, 141 recruits. And in my base shop, I did 71,025 recruits.
Right.
That was August.
We were part of that.
Yeah, during that, I was August 1995.
Yep.
Okay? And so, that was all because of the training, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
All that happened because of the training that I've been talking about. So, if you want to get big, you have to be the person that you're trying to attract. Okay? You have to be that person that you're trying to attract, because like I said earlier, like attracts like, right? You need to become that person, and then you'll start attracting that person. That kind of person will feel comfortable around you. You'll have the same kind of energy. It's kind of like criminals hang around with criminals, right? Drug addicts hang around with drug addicts, right? Successful people hang around with successful people. Right. It's like, single people hang around with single people, married people hang around with married people, right? Why? Because like attracts like. Okay? All right, so you got to really pay attention to who you're hanging around with, because that is who you are going to become. So if you like what you see, good. If you don't, you need to think about that very seriously. Look, I'm going to take a few questions and then I'm done. Any questions? Anything about business, okay?
Let me grab the mic.
Are we taping this?
Yes.
No, but are you taping it?
Just on here and then there. I don't have a rod.
Oh, shoot. You make more money. Have a rock.
Yes, I do. Here's the mic right here. So just, Mark, who wants to ask questions?
Nobody? Yeah, she has a question
I
back
have a
here.
question.
Yeah.
Who recruited you?
You want to give, who recruited me? That's the question.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of John Grote. His name is John Grote, and he recruited me, and he got terminated for being a bad guy. I had a very bad upline. So, but you know what the good news is about that? Did it stop me? No, your upline doesn't determine your future. You determine your future. Okay? That's the lesson from that.
A lot of people that have a lot of activity, but not results.
Because they can't close.
How do you describe to somebody focused on results, not just activity?
You teach them how to close. So you have people that have a lot of activity, but not a lot. They're not getting results. It's they can't close. They don't know how to close. They may think they know how to close, or you may think they do, but they don't know how, or else they would. Okay? It's always they don't know how to close. They don't ask questions. I would have them listen to overcoming objections like 100, 200 times. That's the only way you're going to get, because if they can't close, it doesn't matter how much activity you have, you're not going to get great results. You're going to get some results because our business and what we offer is so good, it's fantastic. But if they can't close, if their presentation's not great, if their ability to ask questions and overcome the objections, their ratios are going to be poor. So it's always a skill knowledge problem. Okay, so whenever you have people that are busy but they're not doing anything, skill knowledge problem. All right, that's what you have there. It's not that they're stupid or they're, it's just a skill knowledge problem. Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so you saw a lot of the stuff I did in the little role play things, right? Stay up here, don't leave. I'll get to you. The skill knowledge problem. I did these role play things. It's when you know how to do it, it's easy. Okay? It really is. Okay, the problem is when somebody's really active but they're not getting results, their skill and their knowledge or ability to put across the information in a way that makes sense to a potential client or potential recruit is not good enough to get people to say, yes, I want to do it. That's the problem. Right. That's always a problem. So what I would do is I have people that were busy and they were bringing people or they were coming to meetings and they were doing activity but they weren't getting results. I would sit them down and I'd say, okay, let's take a look at your presentation. I'm going to be the client. You show me what you're doing. I want to sit here and I'm going to see what you're doing. And then I would take notes. And then after each page, I would stop and I said, okay, because I could see immediately what the problem was. Okay, as soon as he did the first page, I could see, okay, there's like 4 things he didn't either say or didn't do or did wrong or whatever. And then I would say, okay, let's fix this, and I'd fix that page, and then we go to the next page, and then I could see again. I'd take notes and I go, okay, stop. Let me show you what you did here and how I would do it. Then I would. Now see, this is work. Right. It's really tedious, except once he gets it, he's got it. I don't have to redo. I have to do it maybe once or twice, okay? But I don't have to keep redoing it. But once, if he's a motivated person, he's really making an effort, right? Then I get him to do it exactly like me and make sure, and I have him repeat it back to me until he does it the way I want him to do it, right? Yep. Go back and forth until he's doing it like I want him to do it. Not like he wants to do it, the way I do it. Because the way I do it, I know it works. Right. Okay? And then we're done. Then if he's not getting results after he's got it down, he's a lazy ass. Okay? Right. There's nothing I can do about that. He's not motivated. You with me? Yep. Yes. Okay? That's what you do with somebody like that. Wait, there's this and I loved her and still love her, but that's not what she does. Right? Okay? And when I started Primerica, I sounded like my mom. Okay. What I did, my first fast start school I ever spoke at, right? Maybe some of you have heard this before, but I swear this is exactly how it went. Okay. I was scared to death. I'd never spoken in front of. There was only 65 people. There's like 200 people here today, right? But there was like 65 people. I was so nervous. I'm sweating like a pig, right? Sweating, and I was so nervous. When you get really, I got really nervous. My eyes started twitching. So then I'm sweating, my lips sweating. I'm sweating like crazy, and I'm doing this, right? This is how I didn't wear glasses then. I was younger. If you realize how great it is what you do, you'd be shouting from the rooftops. The reason I got big and wealthy is because I believe beyond all. That was my speech. Okay, that's how I started. I'm not kidding you. I was so bad. Jen, right, my wife, she goes, "Oh my God, you were horrible." I'm so embarrassed. I'm never coming to another meeting. Swear to God, I swear to God, that's exactly it. And I had 12 guests there, and I recruited every single person that came that day. I had 12 people, I had 12 recruits that day, because all of them said, shoot, if he can do it.
On your Saturday training,
Yeah, Saturday training.
you drill for skill.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Well, it's not drill for skill. I didn't do a lot of drill for skill. I showed people how to do it and then they got it. I didn't do drills for skill, honestly. I didn't do that. I just taught exactly how to do it and then people got it at the kitchen table. And it was, the way I treated Saturday was like everybody here was on an appointment with me. That's how I treated it because I knew that you know, because you're awesome, you've been in this a long time, you're very good. Across the kitchen table, you got a 80-90+% closing ratio. I know that you're great with clients, you know how to explain everything, you know cash value, where you know everything, right? You're great, okay? So, you are, I know you are. You've done really, really well in the business. So what I did is I knew I couldn't train everybody, but I knew that I could do it on Saturday. So I treated every Saturday as if we were on appointment all together. They were all sitting next to me, and I had a couple here, and there's me, and then but I used overhead so that the audience could see what I was covering, and then I'd go over it with the client, just like we were in the home. That's how I train people. And then so what happens, the motivated people, they see this every week, and then they figure out how to do it, or you can tape it, right?
Big thing is you keep the energy up, because now you gotta change everything every 10 minutes.
Oh, and I didn't do that though. I did the same thing. If you listen to me, like, have you guys ever seen on those YouTube videos of me speaking in 1991? I say exactly the same thing now that I said then. I haven't changed a damn thing in all that time because nothing's changed. Yeah, no, I never stopped saying, well, you know, I say the same thing today. You've known me for 20+ years, right? I haven't changed one iota. Because what works still works. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the fundamentals. It's always the fundamentals.
Yep.
Some people don't do an F&A. I know you value the F&A.
Yeah.
Can you explain to everybody why you emphasize F&A and put value on it?
Well, let me tell you why F&A. Number one, you can't sell every product unless you do an F&A. So what happens, you leave so much money on the table. That's one problem. That's for yourself. That's a little selfish. But the worst part of it is you limit the client's ability to really benefit from everything we have to offer. So when you don't do an F&A, you're not doing the debt elimination strategy you have. You're not doing securities. Maybe you're just doing life, or if you're only doing securities, you're not, like if you're a securities person and that's all you do, you're not doing all the other things. So when anybody you shape it, the client loses, okay? But the worst part of it, in my opinion, over time, is the quality of your business suffers because when you do multiple product lines, the business will stay on the books much more to a higher extent than if you don't.
Yep.
And you have multiple streams of income. That's what you want to have happen. I want to have my team making money from all different places where they don't just make one amount of money, right? I mean, like I think right now, I'm a big proponent of securities, but I'm afraid right now, one thing I'm fearful about securities is the market's been just doing incredible, but the market doesn't always do that. So as soon as the market goes the other direction, all of the people that only do securities, they're gonna be hating life. And all the people that only do life, right, they're missing out on tons of income in the securities part. So, you know, and I wanna retain people, and I want people to make money. And I think doing a well-rounded business, you make more money, right? I mean, you know, so like in a restaurant, you don't just sell one, you go to a restaurant, you look at a menu, they have how many different things? They have a lot of different things, right? But so I think doing the F&A, it also, this is a big, big deal today, okay? It separates you from all the other peddlers out there.
That's right.
It totally separates you from what most companies are doing out there. So if I do an F&A, our F&A, I think if you're not doing it because you don't really do it, you think it's too much work, you think it's too hard, you think your people won't do it. I don't know what the rationale is for it, but I think you think too little of your people if you're not doing F&As. You think they're stupid, they think they're not capable. A lot of the same thing for people who don't get their people's securities license. They think people aren't smart enough to do it, so they acquiesce to the lowest common denominator, and I think that's a mistake, okay? I'm thinking long range. So if I'm building a business, you know, I talked to you, I left you an email message, right? So I think because you're building a great business right now, potential to be a great business. It's a good business right now, but it could be a great business. So if you implement more securities in your business over time, when you're like, have a business that looks like my business, which you have the total ability to do, in my opinion, right? If you don't do securities, that could cost you $500,000 or $600,000 a year of income. But you know what? I'm not the only one that makes money in the securities. you guys make a lot of money in securities. I'm not the only one. You guys make tons of money in securities. So my guys would lose out on that income too, right? I don't want them to lose out on that income. I think there's big money there, right?
Hector, back to when a lot of us that were in your base shop got started, you helped us obviously with some of the fundamentals
Yeah.
of closing and prospecting and all that. And the biggest gift you gave, I know Steve and I talked about all the time, was Tom Hopkins. You know,
Right.
learning how
Yeah.
to
Learning how to
going
close.
to those boot camps and all that kind of stuff. Who is the current Tom Hopkins that you would recommend today for people starting off today?
Well, you know, honestly, I would still recommend that. I mean, there's a lot of good, I mean, I like Grant Cardone's stuff a lot. I like Grant, he's become a friend, and because he's really direct.
Yeah.
And I'm really direct. I like direct. I think direct works. You know, not rude, but direct.
Right.
I'm a very direct person, and I think Grant or Tom still, I listened, and you've heard me say that a million times, right? And you guys listen to it too. How to Master the Art of Selling Anything. It's a generic sales program, and there's 12 audios, and it covers all different parts of sales. Like, so if you want to just be a well-rounded professional salesperson, I would listen to those. I mean, I listened to them literally 2 or 3 hours a day for 3 years, over and over and over and over and over again. And why I did that, because I wanted it all to be reflexive. So when you see me doing this today like I did, and I'm doing these little role plays, the reason I'm able to do it just like I did it 20 years ago is because I have it down so cold I don't even have to think about it. I just do it. It's just there. And that's, if you can get to that place, for me, there's no doubt in my mind, one of the most important things I did in my career was learning how to close, because I was very shy. I'm a shy, you saw my mom say that I was shy, I was quiet, I was shy. I was the kind of person,